Hi everyone, Sanjeev here. Today I have the privilege to interview one of the top sales agent from Rockhampton, Queensland. Our guest person is not only an amazing person, she is very successful in what she does. She is winner of multiple awards and very well known face in her region. Um, if you're an owner occupied investor, developer, or buyer agent, I think it's very important that we have a strong relationship with the local real estate agents in the area we're working on or looking to buy a property. So in this episode, we're also going to talk how to build a great relationship with your local real estate agents. So let's get into this episode. Welcome, Melinda.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much for joining. So you know what? Otherwise, yeah, how have you been?
Yeah, fabulous. It's going really well up here. It's still exceptionally busy, so yeah, we're enjoying the market here. It's very good.
It's quite, I think, getting very competitive and in Rockhampton.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. We are seeing a lot of competition between buyers and still seeing multiple offers with most of our properties. So, yeah, we are seeing that the market is still very strong, very confident up here.
yeah, I think recently we noticed it's now things are moving very fast. You have to, you don't have much time to think or
Yeah.
so. Oh, awesome. Um, so I think Melinda, I think we'll get into it. I think the whole we'll start with your background,
hmm
who you are, where you come from. So yeah, should we start?
Sure. So I have been in the real estate industry since I left school. I've done nearly every job within the real estate realm. So I started on the front counter, and then I've done property management. I've done sales assistant. Then I was a co-agent with a leading agent in Rockhampton for about 14 years. And then I did have a break when I had my son, and then I came back into the industry as a leading agent on my own. I've been with the Ray White Group for this is my third year with them. Yeah, and so now I run my own team. So I mean that's 21 years of the my real estate journey in about 20 seconds.
Now that's been amazing. So Melinda is like a general progression, like in the real estate industry that you start from, like as from the pretty much from the reception
Yeah.
to property management
hmm
and then supporting agent and
Yeah.
then now you're running a team.
Yeah.
So it's generally the progression.
Yeah, I literally started on the front counter and we would take $20 key deposit over the counter and hand out keys for people to go and look at through properties on their own. Could you imagine if we tried to do that today?
Mm.
And then, yeah, I progressed in all of the jobs. So, property management assistant, a property manager, a sales admin assistant, then like a PA. Then I would do like run the buyers for a main agent in town, and then I was the co-agent with that agent in town. And then yeah, obviously once I went and had a break for a little while, I came back as my own agent, and here we are today. I think I've just hiring my third employee to be in my team.
And it's just your team, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just my team within the office. So at our office, we do run teams because we do a lot of volume um, to be able to get anywhere because of the way that our market is here. We need to be able to hold a lot of stock and also sell a lot of stock. So for this financial year, I've done the numbers. I've sold 137 properties.
130 properties.
137 properties. I've still got 8 settlements to come before end of the year.
My God, that's like a good number. I think I would say, especially I know Rockhampton is a quite decent LGA, with around you say 90,000 population.
Yes, it is. Yep. So within the greater region, and my core business is Rockhampton and Gracemere, but that would include like Yeppoon as well, which our office does sell in Yeppoon, but I typically focus on Rockhampton and Gracemere market.
Awesome. So now tell me, Melinda, like, now you're selling, but how did you, like, when you started, like, literally after schooling you got into the real estate? So was it like something, did you choose real estate? Was it like a family background,
No,
or
no, I'm the only person in my family to be in real estate. I kind of fell into it. So I went to uni. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And then I started temping and I fell into real estate doing temping. And then they offered me a job and I loved it. I love meeting people. I love the fast pace of it. So that's how I got into it. And also the company that I worked for was like a really small family business. I just loved like coming to work. It was such a joy to come, and I was like, oh, I don't think that uni's for me. So that's how I started.
and like, on the way, did you like to, I know, I mean, sometime, um I mean, what is the journey you have gone through? It's like, looks like, okay, someone listening, oh, it's good, like she has progressed through, but I know it's a lot of challenges also. So, like, what made you, like, no, now you're doing a lot of numbers, you're very successful. I know, I follow you in your socials and everything. So, what were the, like, couple of things you would say on the way, like, what you did, like, maybe you have mentors, you learned, I know you had, like, good companies, or colleagues.
I think there's a combination of both. So I have worked for 4 different agencies. I've worked for three independent agencies. The one that I very first started with, and then I worked for a blue franchise company, and then I went into another independent company. Then I went away, and then I came back and joined the Yellow Team. So I met the business owner of the Yellow Team at the gym, and yeah, we were doing like a challenge together, and I was coming to a crossroads of like, I want to get back into the industry. They were doing like really great things. I really enjoyed the structure of a franchise and what they offer. And so I just met with him for a coffee, and I wasn't really ready to get back into it full time. So I just sort of wanted to see what their expectations were. Because, when you're thinking, oh, they're going to have big KPIs, but that couldn't be further from the truth. So when I first came back into work, my son was in kindy. So I only worked in the office Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday open homes. And my goal at the time, I think, was to earn 100,000 for the year. And he laughed and said to me, like, if you can't earn that, then I don't think you should be in the industry. So I was like, okay, if you're that confident, let's see how we go. So that very first year back, I made to the first, they call it Premier. So it's 300 GCI into the office. So I made that in my first financial year with the company. So I guess he was right.
And what year was this,
I
Melinda?
came back into the industry in 2019. So just before COVID. And then, of course, COVID happened and we're all in panic stations, but we shouldn't have been worried about that. So with Queensland and especially Rockhampton, for us, we really weren't affected by COVID at all. We didn't have any COVID in the town. It was just business as usual. But then I think exciting things started to happen where we were doing a lot more digital things, and DocuSign was like the biggest change I've seen in this industry, which has been amazing for our business. And also we were selling then, doing video tours and a lot of FaceTime tours. And I still would sell, half of my business would still be doing sales through the phone, which who would have thought that was going to be possible 3 years ago? Nobody. But yeah, we sell a lot of stock on Zoom calls, FaceTime, just video.
I remember, like, during that time, it was a lot of, especially, COVID time, a lot of people had blockage, like, hey, what I'm going to do it. A lot of people actually struggled because suddenly you have to, adopt the technology, and not everyone is good or used to it. Or like most of the time, it's like a mindset blockage, right? That, hey, what I'm going to do now. So did you face anything, like, what you did differently, so you started doing so well?
Then I guess we started being tutoring a lot of the oldies in how to do DocuSign. But now it's just second nature. You don't really get any pushback. Nobody seems to be bothered at all. I would hardly see anyone now face to face for a listing sign up. That's all done on DocuSign or a contract. I mean, most of them can work it out. There's hardly anyone that can't.
So how are you educating people that time? Because sometime because with the COVID you can't go home, can't see people, right? So and then someone educating, as you said, the oldies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like are you educating them? Like use DocuSign or something.
Step-by-step tutorials on the phone.
Okay, so a lot of patience, a lot of
Yeah.
okay,
But
that's good.
once they do it
Now,
once, they're fine after that.
yeah, and were you seeing much hesitation? I think
No, I think once they've done it the first time, they were fine. After that, they were ready to go. No, we didn't really see that much hesitation with it. I think like that sort of demographic was probably more worried about coming in contact with someone than they were opening up the computer.
I think that come back from your you're very people person as well, because and that also with the patients. I mean, it's quite natural for you, and that's why like you say, oh, it was happening. I didn't get much of a challenge there, but I think. What are the key three things you'll summarize, like, for anyone as a real estate agent listening, that which you think contributed, and which really helped you to move to the next level, selling now 100 plus properties.
I think there was a few different things. Mindset change was the big one for me. So I had always been the helper. So I had been the co-agent, I'd been the PA. So then to be able to step into the role of being a leader, I really had to, one, let go. So the second year into working for Ray White, I then got to Elite, which I doubled my business by myself. But I obviously had no life. I was just working. That's it. And I have a young family. I was really lucky in the fact that my husband, he works in the shutdown industry. So he was at home a lot more than he typically would have been in a normal year. So then I was able to put in the hours that I was. So I got to Elite on my own and I started to need help because I just couldn't do everything. And I really pride myself on being available to my clients. And also, I know like a lot about my clients. It's not just a transaction for me. I want to know what their needs are. I know that there's nobody in this town that can match a buyer with a property like I can. And so I knew that's what was different about my approach to business. So I had to find someone that could work with me, and also I had to find someone that I could trust because I was going to give up some of this control over my business. So I ended up putting on the front counter girl, so the business owners of Ray White. She started first of all doing my social media, and then it was a couple of hours a day. Then it was half with me, half with the office, until I just couldn't cope with the volume, and so I, took her on full time, which is Cassidy. And then from there, we just, unstoppable, I suppose. She has a really great work ethic and we work really well together. So I've been really lucky in finding someone that matches my energy. Together we've been able to do most of those deals together. And then we recently put on the third person to take over the administration. And that's how, we kind of run. And now we're looking at putting on that next person as well.
So you're like growing every day, month, quarter, I would say.
Yeah. And I think too, what's happened with us is that we can see that we can do it. So now I know that these big scary goals that we put out there, they're all achievable because we've been doing it and doing it easily. So now when I come to them and say, hey girls, we're going to write 1.5 million this year, they don't go, what the hell is she thinking? Because they can see that we break it down then into quarterly goals. And then the girls also get paid accordingly. So we set up a bonus structure. So it makes it worthwhile for them as well to try to help me to achieve those goals quarterly. And don't worry, they are in there counting down to the last minute of making sure they're going to reach those goals. So that's another reason why I think I'm so successful, in that I set them goals as well and I make it worth their while, or they have incentive to then push harder to get me to where I want to be in my goals. I think that's been a really big change, whereas maybe some of the other agents don't incentivize their team as much as what I would. And that, like, what's the point in staying back if there's nothing in it for them?
So true. It's amazing, Melinda. I know it's a lot of things you're throwing out here. I've got a lot of questions, but I want to ask a couple of questions here. So you talk about, like, initially it was one of the biggest thing was your mindset switch. So what was that like? Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, well, I was so scared to take on someone and give up some of the control so that I didn't know everything that was going on. I wanted to do everything myself because then I knew that it was going to be right. Well, in my head, I thought it was going to be right. The way that I do things was the way that everything should be done. It did take a little while though, because when I did take on my associate, basically she was tasked. I was giving her tasks like, oh, I need this contract typed up, or I need this. And she would come and say, okay, I've finished all those tasks. Can I have something else? And that wasn't really working for me either. So I actually decided then to get a business coach, a real estate coach, because I needed to get structures and things in place because I thought, okay, great. I've got this new person and I know that they're supposed to be helping me, but this isn't helping me because all that's happening is now we're taking on more work or doing more deals, but actually what I'm doing is working more and harder because I couldn't give up any control. So then I got the business coach, and in my mind I thought, oh, I'll get a coach because then I'll get some structures in place. But really what we were doing was taking some stuff away from me and giving it up as part of the plan. So I didn't necessarily do it. It just sort of came naturally as we started to get structures in place. And I guess in my business was I knew that these things were getting done because they were part of the structures and the processes. So I know now that my business inside our office is the best for processes, procedures, and everybody knows where they're supposed to be at any one time. And I know that things are happening because that's how it's supposed to happen. Like the structures are there, who's got what job to do. And also the other thing is if someone from my team leaves, I've got all the structures and things in place that somebody can step into that role, and my business should not slow down that much, only while they're learning, I suppose, and then we can move forward rather than it all being stuck in somebody's head and then they leave and then I'm back to like, oh, I'm in trouble here. So that's something that I've really, really tried to get in place, and that's probably taken me about 18 months, but I've been doing that through a business coach. So I do have a business coach as well. And I've employed someone else to help me outside too for the social media side of things, because I found that in my business, it's all well and good to think that my associate's going to help me do my social medias, do my posts, do all these things. But the minute that they get busy, that's the first thing that drops off. So I sourced outside for that to at least do a bare minimum, and then we sort of fill in the spots that are missing, like the photos of, clients, happy things, the everyday stuff. But all of my video and things like that, I get that outsourced because that way I knew it was going to get done.
Yeah. And it's like very important, like for what you're doing is like you have, regular continuous social media presence.
Yeah. I find that my business changes when the presence slows down, and that all those things combined together is what you need to get the momentum happening. And you get busy, and the first thing that happens is all the extra stuff drops off, and that's when you need it the most.
You're like, it's true, I think, and that's why like you're like just leveraging it so that that is done rather than dropping the ball on the.
Yeah. And then I find then you have to stop and then go, okay, guys, we haven't been doing the social media. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, quick, back onto it. So then you go well for a little bit, and then you get busy, and then it drops off. Then it's just like you need it to keep going and be continuous.
So I think what you're saying is like consistency is very important for you.
Consistency is, it's everything in this business.
Yep. No, I agree. My next question is now. Thanks, Melinda, for sharing that. Because we all have that mindset blockage, and hey now, and I know like sometimes we live in our own world, but then breaking through, and that's where I feel like your the business mentor when came through has said, hey, try this, do this, and of course you executed well. Um, and now you're suddenly from 2019, I think you mentioned, where now you're thinking of 100,000, and now you're that um, the person said like, hey, you can do much better, and you end up doing 300K. And now look at like it's looks like yesterday, just a couple of years, and we're talking about, did you say 1.5 mil GCI?
Yeah, my goal for this calendar year is 1.5 GCI. I've cracked over a mil by the end of the year already. So, yeah, things are definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah,
So,
that's a lot. Like in 6 months you're already cracking million dollar GCI, right?
well, considering that our average house price in Rockhampton is 350,000, we have to do a lot of deals to get where we need to be.
Yeah, that's also true. I think, yeah. So someone listening, we're talking about here 3 to 500K properties. I think I know you sell like maybe 800 900K, but that's very rare. Not many properties there. Um, so now my next question, Melinda, is like you talk about like after you got that, then you started hiring, growing your team. So what was the key couple of 2 or 3 things you're doing which helped you? Because I know getting the team along with your goals and having the same passion, it's something even like all businesses struggle, right? So what you have to say on that, like what you did? I know one thing was paying them well, but I think monetary is one thing, but I'm sure there's more than that, right?
Yeah, there's definitely more than monetary. Monetary definitely helps, especially when you're up and coming agent. But I think opportunity is another thing that people are looking for. They want someone to be able to teach them how to, like, the craft of real estate. And I think that was another mindset shift, was that thinking like, stop thinking like I'm the one that's the help. It's the other way around. Like, I've got a lot to give. I've got a lot of experience. The way that I do things is, as a female, as a top female in our region, is totally different to how some of the men in our area operate. And I think having that point of difference has probably been the thing that's escalated my business just exponentially, especially in the last 12 months, is that women work differently to men, and that's okay, because some people are going to want a man to list their property because they relate to them, but other people are going to want a female, and they relate differently to a female than to a man, and we do things differently. And I think just having that option for someone to choose between a female agent and a male agent it works well in my industry, in my area. I don't come up with any pushback, I suppose, because I do things a lot differently. And I think I had to stop comparing myself to how the top male agents in our area do things, and I can't replicate what they do because it doesn't suit me.
Yeah, just be yourself, and yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's no point comparing,
definitely.
right? So
Yeah.
awesome. No, amazing. Now, Melinda, I know you work with a lot of people. You get a lot of phone calls. Um, Now, what do you think about this whole buyer agent industry upcoming? I'm sure you're getting a lot of calls because a lot of investors, buyer agents. So, what's your take on that?
We work with quite a few buyers agents in our region, like some people like yourselves. But I think that the people that we have the best rapport with are people that we do consistent business with, people that take the time to either come to Rockhampton or at least spend the time to introduce themselves, because we are finding more and more buyers agents are coming into the marketplace here. Some of them will not tell us that they're buyers agents until the very end. And it's like, you don't know who is the client, and therefore like a little bit of mistrust is happening there, because then you think, well, who are we selling this property to? So I think that yes, buyer's agents are half of my business here in Rockhampton, and so they're integral to my business. And I just think having good relationships is key for continuing that relationship. Because if we don't know who's who, then we're not likely to give you a call anytime soon.
No, definitely. I think, do you prefer working with buyer agents, like versus someone making a call? Like I'm like an individual investor. So, how do you like? Do you do any differentiation, or any?
Well, I guess yes, because the thing is with a buyer's agent that we've worked with in the past, we know how they operate, we know their processes, we know that they're easy to deal with. I think so. Therefore, if I just get somebody call me from wherever, and I don't know who they are, well, how do I know that their finance is good? How do I know that they don't extend their contracts? They've got their shit together, basically. And so therefore, when we're working with buyers agents that we've sold multiple properties to, the relationship is a lot stronger. And I guess for me, it's always about presenting an offer to my clients and being confident that this offer is going to go through, because the last thing that we need to do is present an offer, and if it's multiple offers and we present an offer and they choose one but we don't know or aren't confident with that offer and it falls over, then we've got to start again. And because our market here is so fast paced, if your property is not under contract within that first 30 days, and we've got to go back to square one, and that can therefore be detrimental to my clients, because it could mean at the end of the day a less sale price for them and longer, obviously, contract time frame. So I guess the answer is, when we're dealing with buyers agents and we've dealt with them previously or we've dealt with them multiple times, I'm confident with what I'm presenting to my sellers so that they know exactly where we stand.
And would you say it's very important for you to be like confident on not the offer itself, but like who's the person putting the offer, right? Because when you're
100%.
presenting the vendor, y- okay,
Yeah,
because that's also
100%.
a part of your choosing the offer, right? It's not just like, okay.
There's so many moving parts to the offer, especially with buyer's agent or investors, because it also then goes on to our rental department. So if we're presenting a confident offer or a solid offer to our vendor, we then need to transition those new clients to our rental department. And then they have to have a long standing relationship with these clients. Whereas if I'm only going to be in contact with them for maybe, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the length of the contract, but our rental team is going to be in contact with them for years and years. And so therefore what I'm presenting to the side of it after the transaction, they also, need to be confident with the client that they're going to be working with for a long time. I think it's all about relationships and being confident with, who's purchasing these properties.
So now I think good pointers, Melinda. Now, what you would say, like say, like say, if I'm a individual investor myself, or I'm a owner occupied looking in your area, or in fact any area, what are the couple of key pointers you'd say which helps me build a relation with someone like yourself or the local agent, which helps me, or like do's and don'ts of when you're talking to a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm. I think the key for me is confidence. I need to be confident that you've got your finance sorted, that you know what you're doing, you know the processes. And it's okay if you're upfront and say, hey, this is my first time buying. That's okay. At least I know. And then that you're willing to, listen to like the processes and how to do things. But when you're presenting an offer, I need to be confident you've been to your broker, you have your finance already secured, you've got your deposit organized, you're ready to go. Because especially with majority of my properties, or majority of the properties here in Rockhampton at the moment, we're still multiple offers. So you could have the highest price, but if you're telling me that you haven't seen your broker yet, you don't know what you're doing, I'm not going to be presenting that offer as a strong candidate to my vendor. I'm going to be going with someone who I know is bought before, confident, had seen their broker, ready to go. It's going to be an easy process and not a difficult one.
Yeah. So now I think, Melinda, this is more of a hack for the investors. So say I'm in Sydney, I'm making a call to you, and now I'm an investor myself. Now, this is my, I know you get hundred of phone calls, you and Cassidy, or all the teams, right? So how do I show the confidence over the phone? Because the first conversation I feel is a very important one. Um, so what are the key things I should be asking or telling when I'm saying, inquiring about your property and saying, hey, Melinda, saw your listing, and um, so how do I express this? No, just to get your attraction that okay, looks like he's a genuine buyer or something like that.
Yeah, I think you need to do your own research first, research about the area. You need to be aware of what the rental returns are or what price you need it to be for what you're trying to achieve in your goals. I think having someone call me up and say, "Oh, what's the shopping center like, or how many schools are in the area?" I'm like, have you thought how to Google? Like, I do not have time for that. But if you can ring me and say, hey, I'm interested, I've been watching the market, I've looked at the sold properties, I know that around your listing at this property, there's been 8 properties sold, they've been sold for 350, you've got offers over 350, where is your vendor, what's the rental price, what's the lease, like ask the right questions rather than, oh, hey, I've seen this, can you tell me what the area's like? You're going to spend $350,000 and not come and look at the property or do any research, and you're going to ring me to give you the information. I think that's probably a key thing, is to know what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, people sometimes forget that the real estate agents are working for the seller. They are there to sell the property.
Yeah.
Yes, they're to help you as well, but
Yes.
they're not for you. So, like if you're asking, how much is the rent, of course, do the due diligence. Of course, I can
Yeah.
tell you, we're looking at no whatever indication, but don't like, will it rent for that rent,
Yeah.
or, that's your, or like how many schools, as you said. So I think, yeah, no, I think as an investor, I think we need to do our due diligence and everything, and then just ask the question, hey,
It's
uh,
all right
how much is
there.
gonna, yeah, and
It,
like ask the right questions, like why they're selling, or maybe what do you think we can close off, or what are
yeah.
the condition it might help to close the deal.
Yeah, I agree. And every single seller has a different scenario. Like, no two properties are the same. So I think, knowing what the motivation is as well behind the sale is going to help you as a buyer know what you can and can't offer, because you may get someone that is looking for a quick sale because they've got other things in the works, or you might get someone that is looking for a high price because they had paid a particular price for this property, and so for them it's about the end price rather than how long it takes to get there. You might get someone that's after a quick settlement, so price isn't as important. You might get someone that is willing to take on like the longer tenancy. You might get someone who's wanting to own or occupy, so they're after like a short tenancy so they can get access to the property. There's lots and lots of different factors involved with every property, and it's just really asking the right questions so that you can see if it's going to work for your situation.
Yeah. And would you say like it's important that you go and meet the local real estate agents, if you're really looking to build a rapport and everything, or it's not that important?
I think just if you're a buyer's agent, then obviously I would recommend making the time to meet with the local real estate agent in if you're wanting to do a lot of business with them, because then we know who you are. Because if you're just on the phone or you're just emailing and you're in competition with so many others, you're easily forgotten. I guess that's the difference between like yourself and, you know, a different buyer's agent, is that you really took the time to call and understand how we can build a better relationship, so that obviously then you're one of the first persons that I call when I list a property in your core market. I would always ring you or text you first, with properties that I've just listed or I'm about to list or I know what's coming to the market, I'll text you or call you with any of the other agents in our office, all of their stock that's coming to the market in your core area, because we have that relationship and you've taken the time to like solidify that with me and my team. Like straight away we can be on, like we call it stock run, where we go and look at all the new listings. Like straight away Cassidy and I are like looking at each other. We know, hey, this is a property that Sanjeev would be so interested in. And then, we might take a few photos whilst we're there and we're already sending it to you because we have that relationship. So you're actually getting listings before anybody else it's going to market or anyone else is even knows about these properties. At least you can start the process on your end and you've got a head start above everyone else. So I think relationships is key here, and knowing, having a good working relationship and knowing how we operate and how you operate is also like valuable to me, so that I know that when I send you something, you're going to come back to me quickly and say, yes, it's for us, or no, it's not for us. And then I know, okay, cool, well, I move on and find somebody else.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think, Melinda, I think the relation with people like yourself has been our game changer for our business.
Mhm.
We get access to the deals, irrespective of how bad the market, hot market is. And right now, Rockhampton, and all across Australia, we buy, and exactly we travel, spend the time, meet,
Yeah.
yourself, people like yourself, the entire team, the principal of the business, the management team, and yeah, I think, and for individual investor, what you would say, Melinda, like, when, because it's not quite possible for investors, if they were looking to buy one property, to go and meet. But what are the other things they might do? Maybe, a FaceTime call or
Yeah.
a virtual, I
Yeah.
don't know, I mean,
Definitely
yeah.
making the time to have a virtual inspection, because like you said, on FaceTime I can see their face, we can discuss the property, but obviously whilst we're at the property, like I'm qualifying them. I'm working out like, hey, this is a good lead, this is a good contact, just through questions, obviously. But yeah, that face to face is very valuable to me. Also, I think because our market is so fast paced, it making sure that you're ready to make offers. There's no point in doing a virtual inspection with me and you're not ready to go, because that wasting my time is like, I don't have time to waste. I think that's two-way street too. Like other agents in our office will come to me and say, hey, your buyers agents, would they be interested in this property? But I feel that our relationship is, I know what you're after, and I'll be like, no, that's not the area that they like. They don't like that section, or they don't like this for these reasons. Rather than me coming to you, giving you all these properties that are nothing like what you like or nothing that you're interested in. I know a lot about what your clients want to buy and what you like to purchase. Like, for instance, I would not send you a 3-bed, 1-bathroom home, because that's not what you're after. You're after a certain criteria, and I know your criteria. So when the other agents in our office will come to me saying, hey, your buyer's agents that you deal with, do you reckon they'd look at this? And I'll look at it and they'll be like, no, they won't be. Or if I think maybe, possibly, then I'd obviously say, hey, do you want to have a look at this? And like I said, you'll come back to me pretty quickly with a like, yes, it's something that we would look at, or no, it's not something that we would look at.
No, I think, I agree with you. I think this is very good point you're raising, because, you know, I mean, we are always very clear, like very specific, that hey, these are the things we are looking, these are the areas, and we are also willing to learn and understand, especially when we go to the new area. So I think, yeah, if you're, an investor, be specific, like what you're looking for, not like, hey, anything, show me, because then the agent immediately knows like you're not clear uh, what you want, and that might be, the first and last conversation, because they're continuously reading you and understanding that where you in your journey. So I think, yeah, get prepared, and sometime we all start somewhere, so it's okay, but then just do as much as homework you can do it, and ask the relevant questions, and be specific. I think, no I think, thank you so much, Melinda. Now, um, what's happening in Rockhampton? Where do you see the market moving now? And so, how are you feeling now? For the next year, and the stock levels and
Yeah,
everything?
well, I guess we still have such a confident market here. There's so many job opportunities. There's a lot of infrastructure. We're just having our ring road, which will be quite a lot of jobs here. That's just been approved. There was a little bit of a kickback from the government, but that's just been pushed with the go ahead for that. So that's going to be a massive boost for our region. We have, like, I still think that we have a real stock supply issue, which is the reason why we are getting such great results for our vendors, is because we are getting multiple offers on most of our properties. Good stock is always in demand here. It doesn't matter what market we're in. I think that we're going to see a very strong market, even though, the news and everything is saying that interest rates are going to make the market change. I think because our properties are still so affordable that we aren't really seeing a decline in numbers, because people are going to live somewhere. So we're selling to everyday people. So our market is, very strong between that 350 to 500 family homes, because it's still very popular with, obviously, people need to rent. And if they're not renting, they need to be paying off a mortgage. And so at 350 to 450, that's still very affordable for people, no matter what the interest rates do. So demand is strong, very strong for our region.
Yeah, and what who are the main like buyers? Like, would you say, like it's are they owner occupiers, investors, or what sort of people are they? Are they coming from interstate or people moving to Rockhampton to live there? Um, any comments on
I
that?
would say that my business is almost 50-50, because I do focus on that core market of that 350 to 450 price range, that I have demand from both investors and owner occupiers, first home buyers, families, first people, second homes, that sort of market. So my target market is quite wide, because either an investor can purchase it or an owner occupier can purchase it. Once we get into that 600 plus, then we're finding that it is locals. And the locals are the ones that are either upgrading, downgrading, that sort of thing. We find that the investors are sort of up to the 500,000 market in our region here.
Yeah, it's quite good market because you've got really good low vacancy rate,
Yeah.
strong rental yields, anywhere 5.5 to 6% is still, I think, which is quite a strong, in within the whole the space of what investors look for. So
Our
now,
vacancy rate, I think, has been under 1% for at least 2 years. So the demand for good quality rentals is, like, it's still very, very, very busy in our rental market.
and you see things getting improving in terms of stocks, or like, I think,
No.
no.
The reason why I don't see it improving is that we typically find that we go through a boom here, and I've been through quite a few booms. I've been through enough market cycles that typically in a boom market, we are building homes as fast as they can go up. That this time around, it's been different, because we aren't seeing the building cycle, like the builders aren't there, because supply is hard to get, land is hard to get, and you're just not seeing the difference between, like, the last boom in that 2012, we had a mining boom. We also were having a building boom at the same time, but this time around, our market is really a lot of existing properties that are on the market, which is why our supply level is so low, because trying to build a property is just so tough at the moment, just with supply issues. So it's totally
Yeah, no, I
different.
agree with you.
Mm.
Yeah, it's lot of, I think, not many construction happening, not many developers building houses.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, any final tips for people looking in your area, Melinda, which can help them in the current market, which is quite hot market, I would say.
I think there's probably, when you're presenting an offer, because you are in competition with other people, is just to really sharpen your offer. Like, asking for 28 days finance is probably not going to get your offer looked at. So making sure that, one, we keep coming back to being confident when you're presenting an offer. Two, being able to know exactly how fast you can get your finance approved. And three, making sure that when you're presenting your offer, I don't know what it's like for other markets, but I know that majority of our homes are going above the asking price. So if you really want that property, you need to make sure that your offer is competitive, because you're in competition. You're in competition with, like, one property I had last Wednesday had 30 groups through it at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, and I had 12 written offers. Not one offer was under the asking price. So it ended up selling for $32,000 above the asking price. But that's not uncommon in our market. I think just knowing how our offers work and how hot our market is and how competitive the other offers are is going to be helpful for you as well.
Thank you so much, Melinda. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people listening, real estate agents, investors, owner occupied. So now, what is the best way if someone, any of our listeners want to reach out to you? What is the best way to find you, Melinda?
Well, on my mobile, I suppose. Mobile, email, socials, anything. I have I make a point of making sure that I've got back to everyone, and if it's not myself, it's one of my team members will get back to you. So yeah, you can reach out in any of those ways, and someone will find you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think if anyone just Google your name, Melinda Kirby, I think that's enough to find you. And but no, really appreciate, Melinda, your time to share all your wisdom and insights and what's happening. So once again, thank you so much, and have an awesome day.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. Hope you enjoyed and learned something new from this episode. Please don't forget to review our podcast and tune in every Tuesday 8 a.m. Sydney time to listen to all our inspirational guests and learn from their property journey. In case you're looking for help with your property investment journey or building a property portfolio, please visit our website www.investorsdream.com.au to learn more about us and our services. And feel free to book a call from our website for a friendly chat. Have an awesome life and happy property investing.